Hi, and welcome back. Well, like I said last week, this week's vlog is going to be a part 2 version of the last week's vlog, the skill of using your will to create your perfect life. And like I said last week, nobody has the ability to keep you from getting your perfect life. You and only you are responsible for achieving that perfect life, whatever that perfect life is. And with that comes a great deal of responsibility. I think that's where we left off last week. And I was looking for a way to illustrate responsibility and how we have responsibility in our daily lives, and how some people really do well with responsibility and some people don't do well with responsibility, because I think illustrations work best when you're trying to explain stuff like this to people. And it was really strange, because I started getting messages this week on Facebook from people who had read the book, and pretty much the messages were all pretty much the same this week. Very strange, because I hadn't gotten messages like that prior to this week. The messages were, I read your book and I want my children to read your book. And I don't know if it's the holiday season, if people are giving it to their children as Christmas presents or whatever, but those were the messages I was getting this week. And as an author and as a parent, I don't think there's any greater compliment that you can get from somebody other than when somebody's saying to you, listen, I want my children to read your book because the message was so great. Because we want our children to get great messages. That's what we want for our children. We want to teach them something. And if a parent reads my book and thinks that book can teach them something, that's a really huge compliment. So I started examining that whole parental relationship and what we want for our children. And it was really strange, because earlier this week, around the same time I was getting these messages on Facebook, one of my friends, an attorney, had his first child, and the child was 8 days old, and he came in and he was beaming. And he said, Frank, we had the baby, and I congratulated him. I thought that was great. And it's his first child, and he's just so happy, a little daughter, and he was just so excited to be a father to a daughter. And another attorney must have been listening in on our conversation, because he kind of just jumped into the conversation and said, listen, he goes, the responsibility of being a father is something that'll suck the life right out of you. And this is pretty much the expression I had. I couldn't believe that somebody was saying that, let alone saying it to a new parent. And he looked at me and he said, Frank, you agree, right? And I said, no, absolutely not. I said, it's a lot of responsibility. Now I was talking to the new father again, because I thought he was the one who needed to hear this most. I said, the responsibility of being a father is huge. It's a huge responsibility. But it's the thing that is my inspiration, and the motivation that comes from that inspiration is being a father and being a husband. Going out every single day and competing for my family, competing to achieve the perfect life so that my children can share in that perfect life, is what kept me motivated all the years that I fought so hard to achieve my perfect life. And I just can't believe somebody else would say that it sucked the life out of them. But the cold hard fact is, it does suck the life out of some people. Responsibility of any kind sucks the life out of some people. Other people take it as the fuel to their fire. It's the thing that makes them go every single day. And as I was talking to him, he kind of pulled me aside away from the other attorney. He goes, man, that freaked me out. And I said, listen, this is what you have to understand. I said, you decide what responsibility is going to do to you. You decide how you're going to respond to responsibility. It's a decision, and it becomes a skill. It starts with a decision. I'm going to face up to responsibility. I'm going to shoulder that responsibility, and I am going to do well with that responsibility. And the more you do that, the more you face that responsibility and do it to the best of your ability, and let it fuel your fire and fill you with the love that comes with that responsibility. The more you do that, the more it becomes a skill. And then you're able to take that responsibility, or what you've learned in that skill of responsibility, and use it for other areas of your life that require responsibility. For me, in addition to being a father and a husband, great responsibility there, I was a police officer, huge responsibility. And I used what I learned from being a father and from being a husband in my career as a police officer. When I had that responsibility, I welcomed it. It warmed me inside. It made me who I am. I strived to be a responsible police officer who did the right thing, who handled all of the calls that I went on responsibly and to the best of my ability, because I knew so much was riding on it, just like I knew so much was riding on how I handled the responsibility of being a father and a husband. And I guess where I left off with my friend is this is it. You make a decision right now. Your child's 8 days old, and I know him to be a very responsible person. This isn't going to be a problem for him. Your baby is 8 days old. You decide right here and right now how you're going to handle that responsibility. And I'm telling you, if you let that responsibility fill you with love, it fuels your inspiration, and that inspiration fuels your motivation. And we'll go over the difference between inspiration and motivation in a different vlog. But I think everybody knows kind of what I'm talking about. It keeps it going every single day. Some days you just don't feel like you have it in you, and you look at your wife and your children and you say, I can do it because I'm doing it for them. And I know that every single time, every single day that I handle that responsibility and face up to it, and do the best that I can, that I know that my children and my wife are going to reap the benefits. As a police officer, every single shift that I worked responsibly and that I did everything I could to be the best police officer that I could be, every time I did that, it made me a better police officer. And that's a skill. You get better at that. You know, listen, early on as a parent, you make a lot of mistakes. It's kind of intimidating. And the more you do it as a parent, the better off you get. I think we all know, first child, you're very, very worried about everything. By the time you get to with us, with our third child, you really don't worry about much because you've been through it. You understand that responsibility. You understand what you need to do to be a good parent. It's not so intimidating. It's a skill. Same thing with thoughts becoming things. You are responsible for creating your own life, your own perfect life. What's better than that? It's in your hands. You control what you get. It's right there for the taking. You just have to go take it. And that means you just have to be responsible. You have to stand up to that responsibility. It's not going to suck the life out of you. You make that decision right now. That's a decision you make. That's simple. You decide it's not going to suck the life out of you. You decide it's going to fill you with life. It's going to make you a better person. And then you raise up and do everything you need to do to get that perfect life. You can't blame anybody if you don't get it. You know that now. Listen, whether it's being a parent, whether it's doing your job efficiently, whatever in your life you had to deal with responsibly, those are skills that you've honed so that you can use now in your thoughts becoming things, and using your will responsibly to get what you want. It's not going to suck the life out of you. It's going to fill you with life. Trust me. Life is great, and all the stuff in your life is going to be fantastic if you just stick to this. Well, listen, as always, we are on thoughtsbecomingthings.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, Thoughts Becoming Things. And I hope you keep tuning into these vlogs, and I hope you keep keeping your faith. Thanks. Bye.